being true to yourself.
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit Hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Hello, and thank you for joining me for your daily dose of inspiration and positivity. Starting out with the quote of the day, being your true self is the most effective formula for success. We'll be talking a lot more about that today. So hang on in there. Got a little bit of a frog in my throat today. Keeps jumping up. I keep clearing him back down. He keeps jumping back up. So I apologize. The question that I had for the day was, if you could pick any age to stay at for the rest of your life, what age would it be? Now, the first age that popped into my head was 41. That was the year I got married. It was just a really happy, good time in my life. But then I thought, gosh, when I lived on LBI the first time, that was great. That was a great time in my life. And I was younger then, too. I was about 35. Yeah, that was good, too. And then I thought, oh, gosh, well, what about when I moved here full time 5 years ago? That was a great time as well. So you know what? I haven't really come up with an answer, but you all did. Kathy says 37. I looked and felt the best. John says, love the year my son was born. I was 40. Kim says 40. Jen says 38. Dana says 12, so both parents are alive and well. Oh, big hugs, Dana. Val says, I actually enjoyed 50. Marianne says 40 was my best year. Dawn says 21. It's the youngest I've seen besides 12. Betsy says 28. Sue says 35 to 40. Lynn says 34. And Jim says 41. It was one of the best years of my life. I was happily married. I was in talks to return to a job I loved. I didn't know it was the calm before a storm, but that was a wonderful year. But I also love 33, the year that my daughter was born. Here comes that frog again. Excuse me. So there's some of your answers, and I found some pretty interesting material. Apparently, 50 is America's favorite age. We had one person say 50. A poll says that when asked what age they would like to be for the remainder of their lives, Americans said 50. So they're saying that part of the reason that it might be that age may be so popular is because quinquagenarians, that's right, quinquagenarians enjoy the best of both worlds. You know, you start to get over yourself a little bit when you're hit 50. Hopefully you have a little bit more money where you don't have to stress and worry about the bills as much. That's another great part of it. And here is another article that I found that I thought was very good, too. Good News America survey says we get more joyful as we age. That's right. The people with the greatest levels of joy are older, and it gets our joy furthers as we age. Our overall level of joy continues to grow as we believe more than ever that the world needs more joy. I think that's what I've been saying for some time now, right? I'm glad Forbes magazine is backing me up. So moving on to the topic of the day, how do we get more of that joy? Well, part of it is being your true self. In the last few years since my transition from pessimist to hopefulist, one of the main differences is I've embraced who I am. I used to try to be a certain way in front of certain people. And when I was truly myself, I would worry that I said something wrong, something that offended someone, or I was just a little a little too much for some people. And guess what? I am a little too much for some people. But I got to a point where I realized it didn't really matter what other people thought of me if they liked me. What mattered most is what I thought of me. Are you familiar with the word congruence? I really wasn't, but it means living in alignment with what you know is the best of you consistently. There's the word at the end, consistently. It's speaking your truth, living your values, and living with integrity. Now, that's not always easy. I've gotten more outspoken when it comes to certain things, and it can be scary with some backlash. When racial injustice bubbled up last summer, I felt it was time for me to speak out. I spoke my truth on how I felt about the situation. And trust me, I got a lot of opinions from people. I got into a discussion about it with a group of friends at a gathering, and I was the only one with my opinion. But I stood my ground, made well-informed points, and I think I may have given at least one person pause to think about it a little bit more. But trust me, going against the grain is not easy. It's not. And I know that they all had something to say about me when I left that gathering that day. In fact, I know that they did because I've had people tell me that, oh, Wendy, my gosh, she was being such a pain in the butt, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? It's important to stand for what you believe in. And here's the thing. But you know what? I'm going to give you one little other piece of information. I talked to somebody later from that gathering that had left before the main conversation that I'm referring to took place. And I was complaining because one of my friends had said, after hearing my opinion, well, if that's the way you feel, you probably should leave right now, which highly offended me. I didn't say anything in the moment, but I do not consider this person a friend anymore. And when I told someone else that response, although they still disagreed with me, their response to that remark was, well, it wasn't personal. You weren't making it personal. She made it personal. And that was something that really kind of made me realize, you know what, you're right. What I was saying had nothing to do with anybody that was there. I was just stating my opinion. And then all of a sudden I got roped into this remark of, well, I guess if you don't think our way, you should leave. So that's wrong on her, not wrong on me. So stand up for what you believe in. And here's the thing. Your brain knows when you're being congruent, and it knows when you're not. It knows when you say one thing and do another. It keeps track of all those times when you say you were going to do something, or when you say you're not going to do something, and then don't follow through. This is why I always say, are you ready, people? Say it with me. Never break promises to yourself. If you say you're going to work out, then do it. Because if you don't, your brain realizes you don't mean what you say and your word is no good. So what happens then? It erodes your confidence. When you can't trust yourself, you can't be confident in yourself. If you want to live congruently on a consistent basis, you need to set a version of yourself you want to live and work toward every day. If you aren't exactly where you want to be, then figure out who that person is and work toward that version every single day. Write down the traits of that person and ask yourself often throughout the day if you are living that vision. Ask yourself throughout the day, am I speaking my truth? Am I being the person that I think that I am? Am I holding myself accountable? As I mentioned, this isn't always easy. People may disagree with you. People may have an issue with this new version of you. But it's always about how you feel about yourself. When you feel good about yourself, you gain more confidence. Be yourself, walk your talk, And don't make apologies for doing what you think is right. Happy hump day, everyone. We are halfway to the freaking weekend. Now go out there and be badass. I know you can. And I'm here cheering you on.
Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist, hosted by Wendy McClure. For more inspiration, please visit hopefulist.com. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Hopefulist.
Be yourself. There's only one of you in the whole wide world.